A weak, gentle female student was stared at by a group of thugs. They said they wanted to take her home, invited her to the car. But not long after the car began running, the hoodlum started to harass her. When they stopped the car, she discovered this was not the way to her house but to the suburbs. This time the hoodlum finally revealed his wolf face. But he didn't know who the real wolf was. They saw the girl turning around, making a racket from the back of the trunk. Every shot was painful. Not until the racket broke did she stop. Then she sat in the driver's seat and drove away. But not only this girl, this family member hadn't done anything well that day too. Because she didn't like the boss's attitude, the mother burned his supermarket. The son was bullied by his friends. After school, he found someone to fight back. The father was not a good person either. That evening he buried a body in the back garden. They were a gangster family that had just moved here a few days ago, escorted by the FBI. Because the father was being wanted around the world. Before, he used to lead a gang. Cruel and merciless action. Both mafia and legal groups respected him. But on one occasion, he angered his boss. The angry boss offered to kill the father for $20 million. This time world-class assassins were present. The father could not help but cooperate with the FBI to put the boss in jail. Being protected by the police, with unclean status, they avoided assassins everywhere. This was their second time moving their house. The agent warned the father, "Stay here. Don't cause trouble. You have to learn how to adapt to a normal life. Don't just go out and kill people." The father had to take the trouble to open a party at home, inviting neighbors across the town. But just starting out, the father couldn't help it. While he was roasting meat, a neighbor said that he put too much charcoal, another neighbor said his charcoal quality was too poor, then another said his firewood was a bit wet, and they continued complaining. The father finally changed his face. Fortunately, the FBI agent came in time, canceling the father's intentions. The party ended smoothly. The mother and father lay on the sofa. They didn't expect to be normal, was so tired, but the father did not know this was just the first challenge for him to live a normal life. Not long after, there was a problem with the water supply. The water came out like this. The mother thought the pile was leaking. She called the plumber. But she called twice and the repairman still didn't come. The mother got angry. She pushed the responsibility to the father. The father had to call. This time the plumber arrived, but it was an hour late. The father was a bit angry, but he did not expect the plumber found it unworthy. Better late, better never. Remembering the advice, the father stopped. But after checking, the plumber was more arrogant. Not only did he not fix the pile, but he also wanted to fool the father. Now the father could not hold it anymore. Do not think old people are easy to bully. The plumber thought the old man was easy to talk to. He wanted to fool him by reinstalling the waterways and insisted on asking the man to pay in advance. But he did not know that this old man was a hidden mafia. Soon, the old man took out his baseball bat, using practical actions to teach him. Old people are to respect. After that, the wife criticized him. They had to integrate into a normal life, not to use killing to solve the problem. The father immediately admitted his fault. Later he learned that the fertilizer factory was polluting the water, so the father went to the fertilizer factory to find the manager. Unexpectedly, the manager was extremely arrogant. He said, "Buy bottled water then." This time, the father's smile dimmed. He couldn't help it. The father drove to a small road. After getting off the car, he asked the manager who was dragged all the way, "So what can you do for me?" The manager had to say, "Just close the turbines." But how he knew what a turbine was. So he went to the waterfall and put a time bomb in place. This time the issue was completely resolved. The father was satisfied. He and the agent went together for a gangster premiere. Watching the movie, the father has a sincere smile for the first time. He really missed his golden time. Unfortunately, he couldn't go back anymore. Right now, he didn't know a fight was coming. The boss who was pursuing him had found his whereabouts. The cause must be said a few days ago. Unlike dad, the children were adapting to life in school quite well. The daughter fell in love with the new teacher who just came. Relying on her beauty and enthusiasm, their love soon blossomed. The son was even stronger. On the first day of school, he got the information from everyone. Then he used his intelligence, frantically synthesizing resources. He faked a soccer star, then used it to swap assignments with the smart guy. Then he gave the exercise to the football captain, asking him to help him get revenge. The personal thing was done, now the public ones. He pretended to be sick to go to the infirmary. The doctor turned and he started to snatch the medicine, saying that it was a drug for sale. With no capital and high profit, he was quick to earn money. The teacher was fond of his talent. She asked him to write a joke for the school newspaper. The child was alert, recalling the joke that the boss had told, and he wrote it out. But he didn't know, this unintentional act brought trouble to his family on the run. After the publication was paper, the students took them home. They were brought on the plane by their fathers on a business trip, and he dropped them on the seats. Very quickly, the newspaper was brought to the paper mill. An employee peeping was discovered by the boss. He took the newspaper home. His roommate was the boss's juniors. He was bringing coffee for the boss. When he finished, he got the newspaper rolled up. Just like that, the newspaper fell into the hands of the police and brought in front of the boss. The inmate, seeing the newspaper, asked if the boss knew French. The boss was about to put it down, but he saw the child's mafia jokes. After reading, he was dumbfounded. Only people in the association knew this joke. Now he discovered the whereabouts of the traitor's father. He quickly reported to the brothers, asked them to lead the assassin to deal with the father. This was a group of professional assassins. When deciding to kill a person, they didn't directly look for the target but went to the fire department, crashed all the wheels. Then they rushed to the police station, dealt with the police on duty. Finally, they sat down at the computer, based on the registration information, to find the exact address of the target. This time, they can be worry-free, cause they had precisely positioned the target. They ran to the house of the traitor's father. The father just came home. Hearing the dog barking, he looked out the window, but the assassin outside had already raised the gun. The mother, who was hiding, could not help screaming. She was just in time to find the FBI. Unexpectedly, it helped her escape an accident. The agent told her to stay there, then was about to storm out to fight with the assassin. Unexpectedly, the killer was prepared in advance. The agent, who was not preparing, got killed by the assassins. The killer entered the house. The mother quickly realized these were her husband's old juniors. He greeted the mother, then began to take off the belt. This was how to punish traitors in the mafia. Men got killed, women got raped. The mother was very desperate, but she saw a very familiar figure. It was the father. The once famous mafia leader cannot be killed so easily. The father quietly waited for the opportunity to counterattack. On the other hand, the daughter, who heard the echo, also quickly ran home. With a stick, she knocked the assassin down and got the weapon. The son had also returned. They found the killers were searching for the father's body, and so they stormed in. The girl aimed accurately, quickly handling most of the assassins. The son also helped, killing 2 men, but because of the injury, he fainted. The girl, who was about to take him back, was chased by the last killer. The daughter just had to turn around and run away. Fortunately, when passing through the intersection, the detective rushed over in time. But on the other side, when the junior was not paying attention, the father pulled his belt and strangled him tightly. The two of them clumped together. The father quickly killed the man. The mother crawled over and stabbed him with a dagger. The danger was finally over, but on their faces, there was no joy after surviving. The girl and the boy hugged each other and cried miserably. Now they had to move again. The whole family got in the car, like the beginning of a movie. In the dark, tired, heading towards a new city. But now, their expressions were even more desperate. The reason was the same as the movie title, Malavita. In Italian, it means mafia and hell. The father wanted to lead the whole family out of the gangster life. But each time they had problems, they still cannot help but using violence, using the gangsters' methods to deal with them. Satisfied, of course, it's satisfactory. But facing his children, he also felt very guilty.
I always did the right thing. Like all the years ago. Put you in a tricky situation. I regret that.
But evil always exists. The 2 children had no choice but to pick up the gun and replay the nightmare that the father did not want to see. Crimes were like this car, constantly repeating themselves, cannot lead to the peaceful life they desired.